Hey guys, Cadron here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to code a simple grappling hook. I might post a video later on about how to do the wrapping and unwrapping as I did in mine, but for now I'm just going to show you the basics of making a rope that you can launch, attach to a wall, and be pulled towards. So let's get right into this. So first thing I'm going to do is going to create a few objects to represent the world. So obviously a plane is the ground and a cube is the player. So the reason I set this down one is because I don't like setting the player up always. I like leaving him at 0, 0, 0. So if you like that, just do that. Do whatever you want to do. Oh, sorry. Okay, so once I get the player in here, what I want to do is I want to add a component to him, which is going to be the rigid body component. There we go. Rigid body. We could leave the box light on him, and we're going to do two things. First, we're going to freeze the rotation X and Z. This is so he doesn't flip on this axis or this one, so it doesn't go all haywire. And now we're actually going to start getting into the code of this. So this is going to be really not tricky, but hopefully I can explain it in a way you'll understand. We're just going to call this script grapple or grappling hook. So once this decides to open up in monodevelop, uh, okay, so first things first, I'm going to delete everything. Or well, at least the start in the update function, because I don't want those. I'll probably need one of them later on, but I'm not doing it right now. Okay, so the very first thing we want to do with this script is write a require component at the top. So in brackets we want to write require, right there, require component, parentheses, type of, rigid body. Now, this is a safety mechanism, which means when you add it to your character, no matter what, it will make sure he has a rigid body on him, or it'll add it. Okay. And then the next thing we're gonna want. Oh, sorry, never mind. I'm thinking of the unwrapping/wrapping part. Just ignore what I was about to say there. Okay, so we're gonna need a couple of variables first. We're gonna need a bool attached. And then we're gonna need float strength. This is gonna be how strong a rope is, and a float launch speed. Now by default we're gonna set this to about 400, I think. Maybe less than that. I don't know. Strength is gonna be 300. Attached. We're gonna leave attached. So first things first, we're gonna go into. We're gonna need a prefab of a grappling point for this thing to know what it's talking about. So we're gonna go public game object grapple prefab. Okay, that's that. And after that, we're gonna want to write game object grappling point. And the grappling point is going to be the point that we're hooked onto, obviously. Or at least hopefully it's obvious. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to write void update. And in the update method we're just going to write if input dot get key down key code dot whatever key you want. So I'm going to do E, because I'm used to Attack on Titan tribute game, which the keys for the grappling hooks were Q and E, so that's what I'm most used to for grappling hooks now. So, and actually we do not want this down, sorry. We want it, so if it is key just means if it's active, which is when it's down, but not, it doesn't get called once, it gets called constantly while it's down. And then we're going to want a check if grappling point is not equal, or is equal to null. So if it's equal to null, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to instantiate our first one. So we're going to get ray equals camera dot main dot screen point array and input dot mouse position. Oh. Now what this is going to do is it's going to make array from the center of the screen to the mouse position into a world position. So the x and the z, x and the y of the mouse, and then just go out infinitely in the z-axis. And then we're going to need raycast hit. And now we're going to say if physics.raycast ray out hit. And we forgot to add one variable, which is going to be rope length. So just type rope length in there and add it at the top. Oh, mono. Okay, ignore that. Hopefully, no. So it does look like Bandicam has a problem with mono develop. I don't know why. Hopefully it saved. Like, got one of those quick saves in. It did it last time I was trying to record. Load from an autosave. Yes. Okay. Sweet. So let's continue as if nothing happened. And it broke my shift key, meaning I have to restart it. I'm sorry guys for this. I can't seem to record it with Bandicam without it popping up errors all over the place. And then we're going to add rope length up here, so float rope length equals 1, I'm going to do 150. So now the thing with rope length is the way I have it coded, it doesn't limit on how far you can stretch out the rope, it just limits how close you have to be to shoot the rope. So until I figure out how to make it so the character never goes beyond that point and still swings correctly and everything, I can't do that yet, so hopefully you guys will like this just the same. So now what we're going to want to do right here is we're going to create a grapple point. So we're going to call a method called create grapple point. And we're going to put give it the hit. Okay. So now we're going to go down here out of update and write void create grapple point. Now what this is going to take in is a raycast hit. So now we're going to go game object, the capital version of that. Game object tempt is equal to parentheses game object dot instantiate grapple prefab hit dot point and quaternion dot identity. So what this line is saying is we're going to create a game object, but game object dot instantiate doesn't return as a game object for some reason in at least my case. So I have to put a cast here called game object to make it tell it, hey, it's a game object. So we're going to instantiate the grapple prefab at the hit point with its normal rotation, so whatever it is in the prefab, basically. So usually 0, 0, 0. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go temp dot get component rigid body dot add force. And this is going to be the line we're going to have for actually shooting the hook. So we're going to need a couple of things for that. We're going to need the distance. Well, not the distance. We're going to need the direction, the way the ray is going, which we can actually easily access if we just go up here and type ray, and just pass in the ray. is then we could just say ray.direction. So vector3 direction is equal to ray.direction dot normalized. Because we only want the direction it's going in. We don't want the direction to affect how fast it's going. So if it's going, the direction is -3, it'll just return -1, basically. It's just saying go in that direction at a constant rate of 1. Okay, well now that we got that, what we want to do is add the force of direction times launch speed. And there we go. So this is going to create the grapple point, and it's going to shoot it out with a force of direction times launch speed. So in the direction with the force of launch speed. Hopefully I'm making that easy to understand. Okay. So that's what we have now. So now what we want to do before continuing on is actually create this prefab that I've been talking about the entire time. So let's go into here, game object, 3D object, and I'm just going to create a sphere. It could be a cube, anything, but I'm just going to make it a sphere. Okay, so we're going to make this really small, like 0.1. Of course, we're not going to have a render on it, so it doesn't really matter, but I just want it to be small. So we're going to go to the sphere collider, and we're going to actually set this to a trigger, and add a rigid body to this. Now, the rigid body, we could keep it using gravity if you want. I'm most likely going to turn it off, because otherwise, where the player's aiming, it won't accurately hit as much, unless you're adding an upwards force as well, just to make it so it always goes up. But then that causes the problem if you're aiming down. So it just gets really annoying, so I'm just going to turn gravity off of this. Now we're going to make one more code, and this is for the grappling point, which we're going to actually turn into a prefab here. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to create a C-sharp script and call it attachment. And what this is going to do is we don't need anything in here except for two things. Public grappling hook. GH. Now, void start. Actually, three things. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible liar. So GH equals game object dot find. And you don't have to do it this way as long as you have a reference to the player. Dot get component grappling hook. Now the very last thing we're going to need is a non-collision check. Well, a non-trigger check. I'm just realizing I made a mistake in the other code. I'll go back and fix it in a second. On collision, enter. And in here, we're going to write collision other if other dot tag transform dot tag is not equal to player. Forgetting to put those around it. And now, if it's not the player that we're hitting, which we'll be changing later on, we're going to actually go gh.attachment-point, which I did not make public. So gh.attachment equals true, and we're going to set get component rigid body dot is kinematic equals true. So what this is going to do is when it detects a collision, so when it hits a wall or something, it's going to check, is it the player? If it's not, then I'm going to attach to the wall and tell the grappling hook that I am attached, and set myself to is kinematic, so I will no longer be moving using physics. Okay. So now let's go back to the grappling hook and fix my earlier mistake, which is that we are not going to need, it was on the tip of my mind, now it's gone. Oh great. Right down here. It is grappling point is equal to temp. And we're going to do one more thing in here with the mistake I made, which is this. Yeah, we don't want to spawn it at the hit point because then it won't have time to even travel over there because it's already over there. What we actually need to do is spawn it at our line renderer, which I'm going to make dot transform dot position. So go back up here, and right below grappling prefab, just go public game object LR. And we're going to add a start actually. Void start LR equals get component in children line render. There we go. Oh, I forgot to name this line render. And now that I'm thinking about it, these actually don't have to be public. I'm very sorry. Grappling prefab equals resources dot load game object grappling point. There we go. So now we're going to go into here, we're going to create a folder, and this is going to be the resources folder. There we go. So now we got that in there. Now we're going to delete that, and we're actually going to try this out real quick. I'm not 100% sure it works, but if we did it right, it should at least, at the very least, attach the grappling hook. It won't pull us, but it'll attach the grappling hook, hopefully. So if I do E, it says null reference, so where did I go wrong? Create grapple point. Grapple prefab is null. Did I spell grappling point in here wrong? Or did I name it something else in here? Grappling point. Grappling point. I'm going to cast this just in case. Grappling point. You guys have probably already found the error, and I'm just sitting here like, what the hell? Hopefully that goes away. Yeah, gotta reset it. Oh, fun. Oh, now I know why. Create an empty, reset its position, drag it on to the player, name this player, and give it a tag of player. And in this game object, this is going to be our LR, so our line render, and we're going to add a component, line render, and we're going to disable it for now, positions 0, okay, 1, 0, 0, doesn't really matter. Material, we're going to actually create a material for this as well, create material, hook, and I'm just going to turn it complete black. There we go. That's much better. Now I'm making sure I don't forget anything, so hopefully there's no more errors. Okay, so it shot a little hook. Now where is it? Right here. Oh, and it actually went through the object, I think that was. And that was because I set this as trigger, and I changed my mind later on, writing it on collision. So now it should hopefully, yeah, kind of. It's going, but it's going really, really slow. Maybe that's because I hit the player, I'm not sure. But what we want to do with the LR is move it to the side 0.75 and 0.5, so this way it's in front to the right on our player. And now let's see what happens. There we go. That's a bit faster. And now what we're going to do is when we have a grappling point, so else, we're going to go LR dot vertices, set vertex count. Actually, we don't even have to set this. It's just LR dot set position 0 transform dot position and LR dot set position 1 grappling point. Oh, I don't like when it does that. Grappling point dot transform dot position. Okay, so now that we got that, we'll have a line render that automatically shows us our hook, and we want to go lr.enabled equals true, and up here we're going to go else, and we're going to add another if right here. If get key up, code E, destroy grapple. Ooh, now this is a fun function to create, because it's obviously destroying all our hard work. Destroy grapple. We're going to set grappling point equal to null after we destroy it. So destroy grappling point. We don't even have to set it to null, but I'm setting it to null just in case it tries to throw out an error. So we're going to destroy the grappling point. Attached equals false. And that should be it, other than lr.enabled equals false as well. There we go. Hopefully I'm not going too fast for you guys. I'm trying to shorten this video because the first time I took a recording of it, it ended up being 40 minutes. And right now we're at the 23-minute mark, so... Destroy grapple. Oh, I spelled destroy wrong. I'm a fool. Okay. Now, in here we're also going to have another line that we'll be writing real soon. But up at the top, we're going to write rigid body RB. And we're going to actually do the same thing here. Get component, rigid body. So now going back to down here, we're going to need to get the direction from the grappling point to the player in order to be able to add a force at all. So we're going to go vector3 direction is equal to grappling point dot transform dot position minus transform dot position, and then we're going to put this in parentheses and normalize it. Dot normalized. There we go. Now we're going to go rb dot add force direction times strength. I spelled that right. Yes. No, I forgot an R up here. Okay. There should be nothing wrong with it, but knowing me, there'll probably be at least one or two things wrong with it. So no errors in the debug log. And let's see what happens now. Oh, whoa. and I know why that is, because right here it's just checking if it's null, and the second you shoot the ray, it's instantly not null. So what we need to do is say else if attached. So if it's not null and it's attached, then you could do this. Otherwise, just sit there. There we go. That's more like it. But the line render's not popping up, and that's because we do not have two positions in here. We want to set that to 2, and then I'm going to set the parameters to like 0.1 and 0.1 because I think a smaller one looks better. So there we go. Oh, and it showed it after it had already hooked, and that's because this does not need to be in there, I guess you could say. Okay, so now it's going to go like this. If it's null, then we're going to create our first point. If it is not null and we are attached, we're going to get the direction and add the force to it, or to the player, so it'll pull him. And if that's not true, so we're not attached, but we are not equal to null, then we're going to render this. So while it's flinging through the air trying to get to the point it needs to get attached to, it'll be rendered, actually. So this should look much better now. Oh. There we go. But you notice one thing right there. Didn't look like the LR correctly re-examined the positions. And I know why, but that's annoying. It wants me to put it in both of these cases. There's probably a better spot you could put it, which would be if you didn't put an else at all right here, and if you just put if grappling point is not equal to null. If you put this here, it'll work for both cases. There we go. So now we're stuck on it. There we go. We got a small grappling hook. Now the only thing is, I think you cannot set it behind the player, or can you? No, it doesn't look like it. Not sure though. Now one more thing, let's parent the camera to him so he'll actually move with the camera as well. And boom, we got a little grappling hook that's pulling him towards it. And that's going to be it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you learned some more stuff about the grappling hook and how it works, because it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it, just a little bit complicated at how the unwrapping and wrapping will work later on. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys liked the video, so see you guys next time.